What's up, everybody? It's your boy Ty with another episode of The Art of Struggle. And I'm actually bringing you guys some kind of sad news, oddly enough. It seems that if you've been in the gaming space, if you haven't heard this news, it's kind of surprising. If you've been living under a rock, there's a game called Marvel Rivals. It's a new game, the Overwatch killer, it's been dubbed. Uh, and a couple of days ago, the team that was responsible for this in Seattle, including the director, were laid off. They laid off the team that made Marvel Rivals. And this is what I try to tell you guys about the industry. When it comes to the game industry specifically, these projects usually last the span of the release. And then what they try to do is kind of transition into a maintenance update team, right? To create the game, it takes a considerable amount of money, manpower to push these ginormous projects to the finish line. And some of them don't even make it. So you're dealing with an industry that is very volatile, an industry that it's the foothold that it has, it's taking advantage of it. It's charging people excessively. This is just a general game industry kind of thing where back in the day when you got a game, it was done, right? There's no patches, there's no updates, there's no this, there's nothing. You pay your 40, 50, 60 bucks and that is it. You get the game. Nowadays, $60 is just the entry level to get, skins, battle passes, updated weapons, cosmetics, all this stuff. They nickel and dime you and push and they're trying to get the microtransaction game is ridiculous, especially on a game like Overwatch, right? That's something people have complained about to me for years. I've played Overwatch. I play Overwatch. Not today. I play more Marvel Rivals than I play Overwatch, and I do play no more. But man, this is sad news. So I'll go over the article with you guys. All right. So the story was really broke by this gentleman named Thaddeus Sasser. All right. And he says, "This is such a weird industry. My stellar talented team just helped deliver an incredibly successful new franchise in Marvel Rivals for NetEase Games. And we're just laid off. Oh well, times are tough all over. Let's find these incredible people new jobs because we all need to eat, right?" And he puts a smiley face. And the thing that Mr. Sasser is doing here, he's putting a positive spin on what can be very, very hard for a lot of artists to cope with. To look at these people as just tools to be used for your project and dismissed, right? An entire department. It's not like Marvel Rivals is doing bad. On the contrary, it's actually doing better than most games right now. Top 5 on Steam. I mean, it might be number 1 on Steam downloads. Top 5 on PS5, Xbox, and PC. It's a top 5 game that just got released, competing with the biggest names out there. And it's not like the company itself or Marvel is hurting for money. Right? So these kind of things are what I try to tell my students about. This is what I try to inform the industry about. Is what I've learned is, working on games myself, working on different projects and different aspects of the industry, you realize for the most part, this is pretty exclusive to the entertainment industry in the sense that you're on these projects for maybe, if you're lucky, 3-4 years, depending on, what the scope of the project is. But you have to ultimately remember that there's a chance that at the end of this project, you're going. So you might be having a good year, good 2 years, good 3 years. But when the higher ups, the people who are counting the money, when they get to a certain point, they go, oof, we need to upload some staff. We need to upload, we need to trim down the staff here. Run a lean crew. That's what they're gonna go. That's what they usually say is we're gonna have a skeleton crew, a lean crew, right? And these guys are just responsible for updates. It's so disappointing that a game like this that I enjoyed has done something like this. But it's something that I've talked about on this channel for a long time. I've talked about Niantic. There's been a bunch of layoffs, in the industry over the years. This is just one that kind of struck me because of how well I thought the game was doing. I was like, man, these guys are going to be here for a while. I'm thinking 5-10 years. This game just came out. But, you got to remember that this game probably has been in the works for 3, 4, 5 years, maybe 10. I don't know, So they've been on for a long time, and the company's like, all right, the game is out. It's making money. Now let's recoup. And they're going to probably, what most companies do is they'll shift that team to a different project. So like, all right, you're working on Halo. All right, now work on this game, or now work on this game. So they'll reshuffle, right? But most smaller studios, they don't have that luxury, right? Big studios, I can understand. I find it hard to kind of comprehend why they do it. But smaller studio, I understand, man. It's hard to keep all of these people on budget, on time. Things can fall through the cracks. Then you got to meet shareholder needs and stuff like that for smaller companies. But for the big companies, for the NetEases, for the Ubisofts, what are y'all doing? These are the bread, and these people are going to probably make you billionaires. And the first thing you do when you see a little bit of success is you let the entire staff go. Stuff like that just disappoints the crap out of me, man. So let me just continue this. He says, during the course of the project, Gary was fantastic, right? So he goes, today I'm going to start with the inspiring Gary McGee. During the course of the project, Gary was fantastic to work with. This is a highly technical designer currently working in level design, but I've seen his passion project, who is a proactive problem solver. A lot of our time on the project was spent as sort of an R&D branch, coming up with new level mechanics, gameplay mechanics, and so on. Gary was a key part of those efforts. His technical ability, proactivity, and passion for game development and problem solving were a huge asset to the team. Gary doesn't wait for a problem to slow the team down. He finds a way around or through it. Early in his time at our Seattle studio, he developed level design tools and gameplay mechanics that I can't tell you about because they belong to NetEase. But that greatly accelerated the team and often enabled the team's progress. On top of it, he's a nice person too. He holds some strong, wrong opinions on video games. He's highly competitive in a good way, and he's got a lot of deep thoughts and philosophies on life, making him an excellent team member and the kind of guy you look forward to talking to every day. Gary, I'm kidding about the wrong opinions. Don't come from me in the comments. I mean, I try to tell you guys, man, it's such a small industry, right? These people were probably like family at some point in time. You get so close to these individuals that you work with, especially because you all feel like you're doing what you love, right? I heard it put this way. This job is one of those, it's not I got to do this job. Right? It's not, I gotta work at Walmart. I gotta work at UPS. I got to. No, you get to do this job. It's a privilege to be able to create things for games, movies, advertising. You get to do that, right? People love to do this stuff. It just sucks that the industry is this way when it comes to games, right? So yeah, NetEase has, according to IGN, PC Gamer, even on X or Twitter, formerly known as Twitter, people are still talking about it, right? The entire Seattle division laid off, and they tell fans not to worry about the game. That's absolutely bananas, right? And if you realize they just released two new characters, I'm guessing that team was probably involved in those new characters, right? They just introduced, I think Storm. No, they introduced the Thing and Human Torch, and they released a new level. That Gary guy was probably responsible for that level. He was probably working on that level that they just displayed. I just watched the trailer on YouTube. I'm almost certain that Gary guy probably had a hand in it. The level looks cool. It's called the Eternal Night. And at the end, there's a cameo of Blade. Come on, guys. These are dream jobs. The free-to-play hero shooter has seen over 20 million downloads since December. And huge peak concurrent player numbers on Steam. And what they mean by that is active players. People are constantly playing. It has a huge number of people constant. It's not like people are downloading it, playing it once, putting it down, and not playing it again. People are actively engaged in this game. Yeah, so, apparently NetEase also issued IGN a statement confirming the layoffs, but failed to specify how many people were cut. We recently made a difficult decision to adjust Marvel Rivals development team structure for organizational reasons and to optimize development efficiency for the game, they said. And this is what I told you guys. After the game is released, they always try to transition to like a skeleton crew of just guys that all they do is just update stuff, right? So that now they can focus on microtransaction, needling you with nonsense, and putting out updates that don't mean anything, right? And that's the problem with video games is this is why we can't have nice things. This is why. Because the moment we do something good, we think we're making headway. This team, they make this game. Now, all of them laid off in Seattle, director included. That is bananas. So they also say this resulted in a reduction of a design team based in Seattle that is part of a larger global design function in support of Marvel Rivals. We appreciate the hard work and dedication of those affected and will be treating them confidently and respectfully with recognition of their individual contribution. But NetEase was keen to stress that the layoffs won't impact ongoing support for the Marvel Rivals, whose primary development team is based in China. So they're going to outsource the rest of the game. Is Marvel a Chinese company? No. Jeez, this is embarrassing. We want to reassure our fan base that the core development team for Marvel Rivals, which continues to be led by lead producer Wei Chong Wu and game creative director Ga Yun Chen in Szechuan, China, remains fully committed to delivering an exceptional experience. This sucks. And, I feel torn because it's one of those industries that the moment you feel you're safe, that's when they can pull the rug from under you. And it just sucks that it has to happen to these people, man. It's not fun. It's not cool, So the efficiency of what? Efficiency of what? NetEase confirms, says the cuts were made to optimize development efficiency. Development efficiency. This game is so efficient. It's been running perfectly smooth since December. Perfectly smooth. It's weird because this game's launch was it was like out of nowhere, just kind of dropped, and it just took everything by storm. It literally just shut all the people that were playing Hell Divers, all that. Like, we're not playing none of that no more. But now you get this, and it's hard. It's hard because I feel like I gotta stand up for artists in general. I gotta stand up for creatives. But then I enjoy the game. So if I'm playing it, it's almost like I'm betraying these people who it's not like they're getting royalties or something, right? So my thing is, how can I support these? How can I help these people in their time when they're looking for a new gig, they're looking for a new job, they're looking for a way to feed their family, pay their bills, pay their rent, It's tough. It's very tough because you wish this was like a super stable industry. And I know probably no industry is really that stable, but it just seems games are just so volatile. Just so volatile. I would recommend my students, right? If you want to do games, that's cool. But you have to be practical about it. You've got to be practical. It's just not a sustainable way for I think I've come to realize that game design and game making and being a game artist isn't the most stable. Like it's hard for me, like I'm fighting back like my own games are the shit, you're but it's just not reliable. It's just not a reliable source of income. It's not a reliable, it'll get you your feel goods, right? You're making something playable, you're making something that people love. But in the back of your mind, essentially you're expendable. You're just a cog in a wheel for them, right? So, I just had to bring this article because I've been playing this game, and this is one of those things that just it rips at your heart, man. It's like, man, you can only imagine what those guys are going through now. Now they're gonna have to update their resume, update their portfolios. What can I use on my portfolio? These are things that you got to think about. All right, can I use the characters I did, or is it under NDA still? Can I use this level that I made, or can I use these props that I did, or am I gonna get sued by NetEase if I try to post this stuff to use to get a new job? And I guarantee you they all probably signed non-competes for a while, right? So you probably can't do certain things in game. You can't, promote that you did this. You gotta under the table be like, wink, wink, nudge, nudge. I worked on this, look over there. That's my project. That's me. Whoops, you didn't see it for me. This folder just kind of opened up and all my artwork fell out that I worked on this game. That's super, it sucks. It sucks for these people, and I feel bad for them, and I don't want this to happen to my students. So I want you guys, if you want to make games, cool. You need to find a much more reliable version of this, right? What's more reliable than this? Architecture. People are always building shit. People are always building stuff. Architecture, construction, the medical field, they always need stuff. And those guys, when they staff you, well, they're probably staffing you for a long time. They're staffing you for a long, long time because they realize their projects are going to keep on incoming, right? Games, I can't with my conscience recommend it to my students anymore because of how volatile it is. And if I do that to my students and they're getting laid off left and right and they can't hold a job or they can't stay in one place because, well, the development is 6 months, the development is 1 year, the development is 3 years, that's not a way to build a family, build a savings, you're always worried. You live in, it's a rough existence when that's how you're making it, right? So like I said, I'm going to start steering people towards more, even like movies and entertainment stuff. Unless it's like a TV show that's going to be like syndicated for a while, a movie, maybe 3 years, 4 years. right? It's even less than video games, because for a movie, they might need you for a shot. They might need you for a scene. They might need, so that's maybe a couple of months of work. You know what I'm saying? So it's just, it's tough, and I hate it for these people, and it's, it tears in my heart because I've worked in the game industry, and I ultimately had to be like, if I want to start a family, if I want to build something for myself, I can't pursue video games professionally. I have to do it as like a part time, or my friends are working on games. So that's just the worst part.